Do you have a paranormal encounter you'd like to share with us? Send us an email with your story for a chance of it being featured on Weird World. In the summer of 1997, an extraordinary series of events unfolded in a near-century-old house in Toledo, Ohio. The residence, built in 1907 on the former site of an old farmhouse, had long been the subject of peculiar occurrences. Its owners, Linda Dix, a 51-year-old certified mental health nurse, and her husband J.R. had grown accustomed to the strange atmosphere that permeated their home. However, nothing could have prepared them for the paranormal encounter that would soon involve their young grandson, Jacob. For years, Linda and J.R. had experienced unexplainable phenomena within the walls of their Toledo home. The couple often heard inexplicable footsteps echoing through the house at night, initially attributing the sounds to their teenage children sneaking out. Determined to catch the culprits, they devised a plan to sprinkle flour on the floor, hoping to capture evidence of nocturnal wanderings. To their astonishment, the flour revealed small footprints that couldn't possibly belong to their 12 and 16-year-old children. The tiny shoe prints appeared to be those of a child no older than 7 or 8. As time passed, the unusual occurrences in the Dix household continued to mount. Guests who stayed overnight reported bizarre sensations, such as feeling someone jumping on their bed when no one was there, or having their bed covers mysteriously pulled off. Personal belongings would vanish, only to reappear in their original locations after the owners verbally requested their return. On multiple occasions, both the family and their visitors witnessed cups flying off the top of the refrigerator, landing on the opposite side of the room as if propelled by an unseen force. The Dix family had grown somewhat accustomed to these unexplainable events, often acknowledging the presence of their spectral housemates with a simple, "Okay, we know that you're here." However, it was their grandson Jacob who would ultimately bring them face to face with the most compelling evidence of a supernatural presence in their home. From the tender age of 18 months, Jacob had exhibited a peculiar behaviour that both puzzled and intrigued his grandparents. The young boy would frequently point to various locations in the house, particularly the ceiling, and exclaim, "The boy!" Linda and J.R. initially dismissed this as a product of a child's vivid imagination, but they couldn't shake the feeling that there might be more to Jacob's declarations than mere fantasy. As Jacob grew older, his interactions with this unseen presence became more pronounced. By the summer of 1997, when Jacob was 4 years old, the situation took an unexpected turn. The Dix family had recently returned from a trip to Gettysburg, a favourite destination for young Jacob. As a souvenir, they had bought him a set of Civil War plastic army men, which quickly became his favourite toy. One day, as Linda and J.R. were watching television in their living room, they noticed Jacob playing with his new toys on the coffee table. At first glance, it appeared to be a typical scene of their grandson engrossed in imaginative play. However, as they observed more closely, they realised that something extraordinary was happening before their eyes. Jacob sat at one end of the coffee table, seemingly engaged in conversation with an invisible companion at the opposite end. Linda and J.R. watched in amazement as the plastic soldiers began to move and fall over on their own, apparently responding to Jacob's play. Initially sceptical, they considered the possibility that Jacob might be inadvertently causing the movement by bumping the table. However, upon closer inspection, they saw that Jacob's body wasn't even in contact with the furniture at all. The bewildered grandparents continued to observe as Jacob moved one of his toys, only to see a piece on the other side of the table shift in response. It was as if an unseen hand was manipulating the toys, engaging in play with their grandson. Intrigued and somewhat unnerved, Linda and JR decided to question Jacob about his playmate. "Who are you playing with?" they asked, their voices tinged with a mixture of curiosity and concern. Without hesitation, Jacob replied, "The boy." Perplexed by this response, given no one else was in the room, they pressed further. "What boy?" Jacob's reaction to their question was both endearing and unsettling. He let out a deep sigh, his shoulders slumping in apparent frustration. Turning to face his grandparents, he pointed to the empty space beside him and said, "That one there." The look on his face conveyed confusion and disbelief that his grandparents couldn't see what was so clearly visible to him. As the summer progressed, Jacob's interactions with his invisible playmate became a regular occurrence. The young boy referred to his spectral companion as Jimmy and would often be heard chatting and laughing with his unseen friend. Linda and JR continued to witness inexplicable movements of Jacob's toys during these play sessions, further confirming their belief that their grandson was indeed interacting with a spirit. The events of that summer had a lasting effect on the Dix family. For Linda and JR, it was a profound confirmation of the paranormal activity they had long suspected in their home. For Jacob, it was the beginning of a unique friendship that would shape his childhood experiences. As Jacob grew older, his ability to see and interact with Jimmy gradually diminished. By the time he approached his 12th birthday, Jacob could no longer perceive his spectral playmate as clearly as he once had. While he retained memories of playing with Jimmy and could recall their interactions, the vivid visual connection he had experienced as a young child had faded. Linda Dix theorised that this change in Jacob's perception was a natural consequence of growing up. She believed that as children age, they often lose their ability to see spirits, their perceptions clouded by societal expectations and the often repeated assertion that ghosts don't exist. In Linda's view, Jacob's filters had developed, obscuring his once clear vision of the spiritual realm. The summer of 1997 remains a pivotal moment in the Dix family history, a time when the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds seemed to thin, allowing for a remarkable interaction between a young boy and a spectral playmate. While the true nature of Jimmy and his connection to the old house in Toledo may never be fully understood, the experience greatly impacted the lives of all who witnessed it. The account, especially given how many were there to experience it, serves as compelling evidence of the mysteries that persist just beyond the realm of ordinary perception.